Hello everyone, it's Helen here. I can see a few people have been waiting in this area, so hello to everyone that's already arrived and waiting for me to click the live button. So today we're going to be making a mini album. So how's everyone's weeks been so far? No, it's only Tuesday and I last saw most of you on Thursday. That was my last live. So how is everyone? So yeah, feel free to just chat and I can see everyone. Hi Lynn, how are you? Have you had a good week? I'm just drinking my tea here. Mr. Griffin's off today, so I've told him to be especially quiet and not to flush the toilet chain. And to close the door if he goes as well. But he did make me this tea. So hello Gaffetta. Is that how you say it, Gaffetta? So I'm just going to wait for a few more people to arrive before we actually get into the making. So we're going to be making a very similar folio style book, just album, just like this one. So I had thought maybe I could make it into a book just like this, where it's bound on the one side just here, or just make it into a folio that folds out and does like flip flaps and things like that. So I'm thinking I'm going to go for the second option, and I'm not going to finish this today, so this is going to be 2 parts, possibly 3 parts, so this is going to take me a while to complete. Hello everyone, please do say hello on the comments. Yes, Mr. Griffin, be quiet. Yes, definitely. I was filming a video earlier on, I think it was in February, and he put a noisy film on, and my desk is right above his speakers, and there's rumbling and fight scenes, and when I was editing I could hear them. So yes, that video should be out next week or the week after, so watch out for that one. Yes, so yeah, Lynn likes the second option. So I'm going to be going through everything that we're going to be using in a moment, and we're going to be making a gatefold style mini album from scratch. And today we're going to be concentrating on like the backbones of the album. So next week we'll be doing pockets and maybe adding some photos and like the finishing touches, but we're just going to be doing the backbone of the album and maybe add a few flaps and things. We'll see how far we get, but it will get to the point where I will have to say, right, we're going to have to finish. Even if we don't make it the full hour, I'm going to try and make it last the full hour, but it may just get to the point where it will be a good time to finish, if that makes sense. So yes, hello, please do come in and say hello to everyone. How is everyone? So we have Parvati from Mauritius. Hi Kay. Hi Danielle. Hi Darlene. Right, so let's go through with some of the things you're going to be needing. So I'm just going to start off with like basic, there's nothing too special you need, it's just basic mini album making things that you would have in your stash. If you're new to mini album making, this is kind of what would be really great for you to kind of add to your stash if you don't have them. They're basically my essentials that I go to every time I go to make an album. So the first one is a Greyboard. It could be a chipboard, it could be mount board, something that you can cut. This one is 1mm thick and it can come in different thicknesses, and I have got a little list of things down below in the comments, not in the comments, in the description box. And tomorrow there's going to be a blog post with this video embedded and all the things that I've used, and all the measurements that I'll be using today, because I'm making this from scratch, so I haven't got any measurements written down. So that's going to be written up later today and put together for you. So that's going live tomorrow. So if you'd like to pop along to www.helengriffin.co.uk and sign up to my newsletter email, there's something in the corner in the blog section on the right hand side, so that you'll be notified every time I post a new blog or video on my website. You'll be notified of that straight away. So if you don't want to miss this blog post, make sure you're subscribed to that by email. and I'll also be adding a link to that blog post to this video tomorrow morning as well, just in case you're watching on the replay. And hello guys, if you're watching on the replay, hello to you too. I don't want to forget you guys as well, because you know it really does bump up the numbers when people watch after the show, because I know a lot of people are at work. So yes, do say hello. There'll be another section for the replay comments, so say hello and ask questions, and I'll do my best to answer those ones as well. So this is Greyboard, and again listed down below. And as we get into the album, the inside bits, I always use a scoreboard for that. So this is a We Are Memory Keepers 12 by 12. I have quite a few of these actually. Should I count them? I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 full-size ones. Oh dear, that's quite a lot. And I've got 2 minis as well. So once you get the scoreboard bug, it's really hard. This is one of the mini ones. This is a Martha Stewart. And I think We Are Memory Keepers do one, so you've got to have them all. So that's another small one. I remember my first mini album that I made, I just had a ruler. I didn't have a scoreboard. I was making all these marks and scoring and things. And then I was like, you know, I need a scoreboard. I'm getting serious. Right, so you're also going to need a bone folder. Now this one does come, most scoreboards will come with some sort of bone folder, but I do like to use my own. So let's put that aside. And I'm going to be using some cardstock today. This is one of my favourite colours. And can you guess, this turned out really well, the colour of my top. I got dressed in the dark, so I just grabbed the top from my drawer and put it on, because Mr. Griffin was still in bed because he has to stay off, so he didn't have to get up so early. So I got dressed in the dark, and lo and behold, it's the perfect colour for today's video. So this is Petrol Blue Foundations card. This is, again, it's from Craft Stash, but it's from Creative Expressions, but they sell all of the colours. I absolutely love this. This is my favourite type of cardstock. Petrol Blue is one of my favourite colours. And this is Stix 2 A4 double-sided adhesive sheets. Oh, there's quite a few comments there, so I'm going to refer back to the comments. There's a lot of people saying hi. So we're going to be using this as well for our hard wrap. We're going to be making a hard wrap today. And to give a bit of support, I'm going to be using some Tyvek sheets. So if you don't know what Tyvek is, if you've ever had indestructible envelopes, and I know sometimes they use this as a building material as well, it's really strong. It's kind of like a indestructible paper. Look, I'm trying to rip that. I'll probably have to iron that out now so I could use that, but I just wanted to show you guys how strong that is. You can cut it though. Okay, we'll have this as our test piece, so you can cut it absolutely fine, and you can use it with your paper trimmer as well. So that is really easy to use, and it's super strong. So let's grab that album back again, the book. It's for using on these parts here where we have a weakened area here. So that is what the Tyvek is for. So I've tried to find links on the Amazon.com as well as Amazon.co.uk for that. And what else? Oh, we're also going to be doing some foiling without heat. So I want to stress we're using foiling without heat. So you can use any sort of foil here that you get in rolls for a heat reactive foil. So I've had this in my stash for quite a while now, and it is still available in on Amazon and places, but there's so many different brands. For Craft Stash, I've linked one from Crafter's Companion, and that's on special offer today. I think it's like £3.60 something, so it's really cheap. So that is useful to have. So you're also going to be needing some double-sided tape. I've got a big squeegee. It's like a massive giant bone folder, so I'm going to be using that too. I think this is still on Craft Stash. I bought this in January. Scissors, glue, and I do have some photos, but I won't be using any of the photos today. But this is kind of just to keep me, you know, to keep the visualization in my head, really. And these are my photos from the Tutankhamun exhibition that I went to last week, and these are the photos that I took as well. So I'm hoping it's not got too dark. The sun again is in and out. Let me know if it gets too bright and I'll close the curtains again. Right, so let's move those aside. And I'll also be using my bypass paper trimmer too. So the sun's come back out now I've done that. One of those funny days again. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the comments. There we go, here's the sun. I'm going to move on to the comments, and then I'm going to start making the album cover. So let's go through the comments. So, yes, hi Sam from Mixed Up Craft, she's here. Hello, how are you? And we have Mrs. Stationery, so we have Laura here as well. Hello Laura. And we also have Pauline as well. Just drinking my tea. Okay, so if you did miss the beginning, you can just watch the replay when it becomes available. It takes probably about half an hour for it to come back onto YouTube after it's finished the live. So, but it will reappear back again, and then I think it's a couple of hours it takes for the live feed comments to appear as well. So it does take its time. So it will be coming back eventually. Right, so I'm going to be starting off with my Greyboard. Oh, and one important thing I forgot to say, I'm also going to be using some gift wrap. This is just gold foil gift wrap because I'm going to be doing my Tutankhamun photos. I kind of want to go for an Egyptian theme, but without actually going for the whole Egyptian themed papers, because one, I haven't seen them, and two, it's a little bit too themey for me. I do like a theme, but when you start to go into Egyptian and other themes like that, it can become too much and overpower the photos. So basically I want my photos to kind of tell the story, and just use hints of the colours and the gold in the background, and then I want to add my own writing onto there as well. So we're going to be using a gift wrap today for the outer wrap, hence why it's super important that we're going to be using the Tyvek. So let me get my paper trimmer out. So this is my most favouriteest, I know that's not a word, but it is for me, my most favourite paper trimmer in the world. This is by Fiskars. It's a bypass trimmer. I've had it for about a year now, maybe a year and a few months. It's a self-sharpening blade. It's a proper guillotine. It's it does 12 by 12. It goes up to 13 inches. And this lifts up there, and it does centimetres, it does inches, and it also has the numbers along the bottom as well. I'm trying not to make too many banging noises. So again, if you have any questions, please ask. This is from Amazon.com, so it's from the US Amazon. You can order it via the .co.uk Amazon as well if you're in the UK. So just add it to your basket, and it will give you the final amount on on there, because you've got taxes and import fees and things like that, but it's all done for you. Okay, so we need to cut this in half. I can't remember the measurement for A5, and there's no measurements on this one, so it should be, just double checking, 5 3/4. It says it on my Tim Holtz trimmer, so that's pretty handy. Thank you, Tim Holtz. I've forgotten the measurement. 5 3/4. Yep, I have a brain like a sieve for numbers. 5 3/4, and that is not the best demonstration for this one because the numbers disappeared on that section. This section here on any sort of paper trimmer is annoying. Just disappears. So I'm going to just make a little notch and then go for it. So we'll do 5 3/4. I know it's probably a section off or two. There we go. So we're going to be going for an A5 style mini album today. Hi Gillian, how are you? Okay, so I'm hoping I'm still in frame. Okay, so the great thing about this bi-polish trimmer is that I can cut through Greyboard and it won't blunt or dull the blade as a demonstration. I have a piece of paper here. Let's trim this one off. This is a Nitwit's collection paper. You can see it's absolutely fine. You can use it, you know, a really thin piece of paper after cutting that, and you can do really super thin cuts. So if you look at this one, it's gone curly. There we go. Absolutely love this trimmer. Okay, so this is going to be the back of our album. This should more or less be the same size. So we didn't go exactly in half, so we're just going to cut that side off, and then we're going to cut this one in half as well. There we go. So we have two the same size, and then we're going to cut this in half. Let's see if I can do the maths for this. Okay, 5 3/4 is 5 3/8. There we go, did it. This is where I work out I did do it wrong. So here we go. See, now I've got to work this out. Oh, maths is not my strong point. So we're going to need to go 2 1/2 and then add 3/8 of an inch. 1 2 3. There we go. Yes, that looks like it's in the middle, so I'm going to double check by measuring either side. No laughing. 2 7/8. 2 7/8. There we go. Okay, so these are going to be the top bits that lift up, and now I need the sides. So what measure, how high should we make that? About 1/2 inch. I think 1/2 inch would be a good measurement. Let's hope we can actually fit everything in. Let's measure how tall that is. That is 1 inch. 1/2 inch I think might be too small. Let's go for 1 inch, and then we can tuck extra things in. So I'm going to go with this measurement. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but there's a little ruler section just on the other side of that. So I'm going to go for that measurement there. It's gone very quiet on the comments, so are you all concentrating? Absolutely love this. It really saves me getting out the craft knife and ruler. Okay, I think we're okay now for a little while. For the paper trim, I'm just popping that away. Okay, so now we have all of these pieces. So we have the back piece, we have the two sides. So we're using the whole length here, width of the A5. Sorry, this wasn't A4, we're using the whole thing, we only trimmed it down. I'm probably confusing you guys now, so the only measurements we're changing are these sections. Okay, so this is how we're going to be popping this together. Ah, that's a good question then. So let me quickly show you how you can do that without the fancy paper trimmer. So grab yourself a metal ruler, or if you have the Tim Holtz one with the metal edge, that's always good. And you can use a sharp craft knife, or one of these bigger ones, that bad boy there, or even just a smaller one like this one here. My husband nicks this all the time. So what you would do is, if you need to cut this into, say, a 1-inch strip, measure at 1 inch here, 1 inch in here, and then 1 inch from the bottom, just like so. And then do your best to keep your fingers out of the way, and then and the ruler, keep the ruler in the same place, try not to let it skid, and then just go through a few times. And then go down just like so. And another thing you can do, if you have an ordinary paper trimmer with like a, say you have a Fiskars trimmer with those little blades that come in and out, if you have a blunt blade, keep those just for the Greyboard, and just go up and down, up and down, up and down, and that will eventually cause the Greyboard to split. So that's another way that you can do it. Just trying to stay tidy. Okay, so let's move on now. What should we do next? So I need to just double check that I'm not doing things in the wrong order, because I do that all of the time. We're going to go for our Tyvek now. So let's go back to our big trimmer, because I prefer to use that trimmer than the Tim Holtz one on the Tyvek. So if you missed the beginning of the show, I did briefly talk about Tyvek. It's super strong, untearable paper, I guess. It's reinforced, I think, with plastic in it, but you can cut it, as you can see. So let's cut this into strips. So we're going to be adding these to the joins just to give our album some really good strength, because we're going to be using wrapping paper for this. So let's do 1 inch strips for this, or should we just do one? Yeah, I'm just measuring up here. We'll do 3 inches. We'll do 2 3 inches. Teresa says she has this trimmer and she loves it. Yes, it comes out for anything, any occasion. That's all right, creative spirit. She said she's a bit late, but there's always going to be catch up. Okay, so I have 2 of these now. So let's move on to doing one side. So we're going to be adding this onto there, this at the back, just like so, and then this one just like that. Okay, so let's add this one to the center first. So I'm going to be using some red tape here because it's super strong, and we want our album to not fall apart after a few months. I've had that before. I'm just using my bone folder again just to press everything down. I cut my nails this morning, so I can't actually pick anything up. I can type a lot easier, but picking things up's become a bit of a struggle. Never mind. Okay, so that's our first piece down without depressing. Okay, so I am going to actually add some more tape now to the inside of this. So I'm adding it to the side where the piece is already stuck on. And again, it's so much easier just to feed your hand through and do it that way. And then move that aside. And on this one, I'm going to put this on one side here. Yes, Tyvek does glue just like regular paper. It does have a little bit of a shiny, it's not completely shiny, but it's a bit more sheeny. So it just needs, you know, that extra 5 minutes dry time. So I'm just adding one on that side and then another one on this one here. So yes, if you don't have Tyvek and you do have trouble sourcing it in the sheets, you can just buy the Tyvek envelopes, and then you can trim those down and then use the Tyveks from that. Okay, so now we're ready to pop this on just like that, and I'm also going to leave a gap as well. I'm going to leave, I'm hoping you can see the measurements here, but I'm going to go for, usually I go for 1/4 of an inch, but I don't really want to have a tight gap, so I might go a little fraction over, maybe 1, 2, 4, maybe 6/16 of an inch. That might be too big. We'll just go for a normal one and see how it goes. It might be a bit of a tight fit. We'll see. The outside paper is not going to be as bulky as if I was using ordinary paper. So let's line this up. Everything's sticking to me. Yep, take your time for this one. This bit, you shouldn't really try and rush this bit. Hi Claire. So I'm just making sure that there's an even gap that's 1/4 of an inch all the way down here. There we go. That is that side done. So that is going to be our side and our top. Don't worry about this here. This is all going to be covered up. We need the strength here in the center. Okay, so now we're going to add the main piece now. So we're going to turn that over. So as you can see, I have a tape here on the outside of this one and the outside of this one, so we have the best contact between both of them, and good sticky bits. Okay, so I'm going to do exactly the same and try not to stick it to myself again, she says. Gonna go for another 1/4 inch. I'm terrible for sticking to this. Let's just go a bit longer. There we go. Right. Okay, that is the first side done. Let's turn that over and give that a good pressing. Bone folder is your best friend. Hello, is it oh, I can't pronounce it, sorry. It's a person from Italy. Is it Gegi? No, sorry, I'm gonna make it. Oh, Gigi. Well, anyway, I hope you're all okay over there. I have been keeping an eye on the news a lot. Okay, so here we have our first side done. So let's do the next side now. So I have my other piece of Tyvek here. So we're going to do exactly the same, but a mirror version. So we have Nancy, she's from Florida, it's sunny there. So is there anyone here watching, if you'd like to write in the comments, that's new to mini album making? I'd love to know if you're new to it, and if you are new to it, just feel free to ask any sorts of questions as well. I am answering the questions as much as I can as we go through. Okay, so let's get this one right in the centre, and again, all of the measurements for this will be appearing on a blog post which will be out in the morning, so pop along to helengriffin.co.uk. There's a link for that down below as well, and you can sign up to my emails, and that will only send you notifications when I've posted the blog post. That's all I use that for, just in case you don't want to miss anything. So we're going to add tape to this side here. Yep, Sheila says she's new to album making. So yes, Macon has said yes, that she's used some of my dies for that one as well. Yeah, Gillian's only made one using my dies. So I created the dies just to make it a lot easier and faster, but you can actually make all these, you know, by hand. It just takes a lot more time and a lot of planning and thinking of how you're going to put it together, whereas if you have all the dies with all the pockets and everything just works and fits together, it's just a lot quicker. So personally, I do both. I make from scratch and I use the dies as well. So there's a few here that have made one, and then there's a few that are new to it. Okay, so grab the ruler again. Tim Holtz ruler is my favourite. So again, we're going to go for the 1/4 inch. Quarter-inch gap. There we go, I'm getting a little faster at that now. And then do exactly the same on the other side, and then we'll be ready to put this wrap together. Yes, Claire, she does. She said she loves the dies, but she needs to get a new Big Shot first. So I tell you what, I need to tell you something. Some of you may have heard me say this before, but I didn't actually own a large format die cutting machine until I had my own dies out. So I had to buy a new die cutting machine so I could use my dies. But now I use it all of the time. I use mine all of the time. I have it set up right next to my regular size Big Shot. I use the Gemini. Okay, so we're attaching this one to this side. Don't get carried away and attach it like that, because you're going to be, yeah, you're going to be doing it wrong if you do it that way. So on the bottom side of this side here, so on the replay, when you're doing this, just watch this through again, pause it if you have to, and then do what you need to, just so that you don't end up with tape on the wrong side. So this video will be here for you to kind of just replay that just for this section here. That's the great thing about having a video tutorial, you can just skip to the places where you need to. Yes, so Teresa's saying she wants to do a hard cover album. Teresa, do you know how to do that? I'm sure you do. I do have, and other people do have, plenty of other hardback tutorials on YouTube as well, if you ever get stuck on how to do a hard cover. I'm just going to grab my ruler again. And we're going to go for, I'm hoping this doesn't take up the full hour. If we go over, just like I said last week, we go over a little bit because I do want to get to a good stage in this album today. So making sure that there's a 1/4 inch gap. There we go. So here we have basic Greyboard parts done, and we have the reinforced Tyvek back on the back as well. Okay, so now we're ready to start on the gift wrap. So this could get a bit noisy, so if you're wearing headphones, I do apologise. I'm hoping it'll be all right, not too rustly. My tea's gone cold. Do you think? Do you think he might want to make me another one? I don't know, I'll have to ask him. Okay, so this is just ordinary gold metallic paper gift wrap. So if you have the indestructible sort of non-recyclable gift wrap, it would be perfect for this, especially if you have the non-recyclable stuff and you don't know what to do with it. It's absolutely perfect for adding to your mini album covers. So I'm just standing up here because I just want to cut this. I'm just going to do it willy-nilly. So having a good, nice, big desk space is ideal for mini album making because you do need a little bit of space, especially if you're doing the big cover. Okay, so let's trim this off again. I'm going to keep the offcuts. I might add this to my album. There we go. Okay, so we should have something like this, and it kind of does not fit onto my onto the camera. Okay, so what we are going to do now is, now we have that cut to size, that's ready to go. I'm going to move over now to this A4 double-sided adhesive tape sheets. I couldn't source these on Amazon US, but I do know that you can get score tape in like 6-inch rolls, so that would be perfect for that if you can find those. So I'm going to need 2 of these. So these are linked down below. These are by Stix 2, and I got these ones from Craft Stash. So all you're going to do is just peel this off. You're going to turn this over. Ah, good, Claire. Claire said it's not that rustly. I was a bit worried about that. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to peel off just the top side, and I'm going to try and position this over the top there, trying to keep it straight, and then I'm going to press that down. So now I have something that looks like this, so it's stuck there. And again, I've got this upside down now, so I have the Tyvek on the outside. So all I'm going to do is pull this sheet off here, and then flatten that down and go across. There we go, there is our first one. And you can use a bone folder just to press this down, or if you have this big squidgy thing from this big giant bone folder, and a good pressing. And then I'm just going to quickly measure and cut this one. The sun's out again, it's in my eyes. Okay, there we go. And then I'm just going to do exactly the same. Just lining everything up. It is going off to the side a little bit, but we'll just have to live with that. There we go. Yeah, so Creative Spirit Design says she uses the Stix 2 sheets when she's doing intricate dies, so that's a lot handy actually, more handy than using the glue, so yeah, because they can be really fiddly. Okay, so squish that down again. Okay, we're getting there, guys. So we're going to do exactly the same now. We're going to flip it over, just grabbing my gold. This is the gold outer wrap now, and we're going to adhere that to this side. So again, we're going to wrap this off slowly. Press that down, and I'm just going to pull off this section here as we go along. Now, some of you might be wondering why I'm not just covering it with glue like I have done in the past, and maybe just use just a few bits of double-sided tape instead of going for the full contact. I do prefer the look here of everything being stuck down evenly. If I was to go over this with glue and then stick it down, you would get lines, glue lines, in whatever pattern that you squidged it on showing, especially as this is a thin paper. You would get the squiggly lines like this, and you may even see some individual tape lines too. So this just gives you a really good finish, and there's no risk here of bits that aren't stuck down to lift up again. And it really does, these small things really do add up to a better made quality album. So I'm just squishing everything down now. Again, if you don't have that tool, just a bone folder would be perfect, or a ruler as well would be good for doing that. So I'm done making all those noises now, so let's turn this over. So I might just get my scissors in again and do some trimming just to make this a little bit shorter. So again, I'm just going to do this freehand. You can, if you have a big enough paper trimmer, you can do that whole length there. Again, I'm just going to trim this. I'm going for round about maybe just over an inch overlap. If you're using a card, I would go for a longer, maybe 1.5 inches all the way around if you're going for a thicker card, just to help it stick. So I'm okay with that one, and I think, yeah, this is going to be okay for that one. So I'm going to trim the corners now. So I'm going to leave probably about an 1/8 of an inch gap, and I'll see if I can lift that up so you can see. So I just need to switch screens so I know I'm showing you the right thing. So as you can see, there's a gap here. That is going to give us some really nice neat corners. So I'm just going to check the stream health as well, because I've been ignoring that, and it says excellent, so yes, we're all good. I remember on my first live stream I had a bit rate problem, so I've not had that problem since, so it must have been an off day for the internet coming to my house. So I'm doing this on all of the 4 corners. Okay, so we're really getting there. So I'm going to move over to the tape. I'm going to stick with red tape. You can use this normal tape here, but I do find the red tape sticks to the Greyboard a lot better. So one thing I should have done was add this before I did the trimmed off the corners, but we'll just have to live with that. So I'll cut that at an angle. I'm just switching to my Tim Holtz scissors as well. Because this red tape does make your scissors a bit gunky, so these Tim Holtz ones have a special coating. I'm just doing this left-handed here. There you go. Who would have thought I could be left-handed? Yes, so that's right, Claire. It's perfect for mini albums. It's super strong as well. And then the last one. So I've been cutting this tape at an angle so that I can then add it on an angle, just like so. Right, let's get that pressed down now with a bone folder. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some more tape around the inside, but I'm just going to go with just this ordinary tape here. And I do have an acrylic block here with a really nice corner there for helping to cut it, so I don't have to keep getting my scissors out. So I'm just going to add this along all of those edges. There we go. So do expect to use quite a bit of tape here when you're mini album making. It's not something you want to be too frugal with. I mean, use it sensibly, but don't underuse it to cut a corner. There we go. So I'm just going to press. The very important thing to do is always press down your tape. One, it helps everything adhere together really well, and secondly, it helps to get the backing tape off as well. Okay, so I'm just going to take all of the backing tape off now. So I cut my nails, so now I can't lift anything. I might have to get my pokey tool out. Yes, I will. I'll get my pokey tool out. There we go. Okay, so we've got all of the inside ones taken off. So now I'm just going to take off the backing tape for this top section here, and I'm going to start in the middle and then wrap this over. There are a few other extra steps that you need to do if you're using cardstock, but I could get into that another time that I do a wrapped album cover, but with paper it's not so important. So I'm just going to fold this up like that, just to give it a good crease, and then I'm going to fold that down in the center, and then take the corners and then press that down. And my tape went a bit funny there, so there's not much I can do about that. And then press that down. So there is our first part done. Turn it over so we have the bit that we've just done at the bottom, and then do exactly the same. So fold this up, and then go in the center first and pull that down, and then go into the corners and then pull those down. And if you want to make this along with me, go ahead and watch the replay again, and then when we go on to part 2 of this, which will be next week, you'll have an album ready to keep, ready to go. Right, so now we're coming to this side and this side. So bone folder, I'm just gonna take that off without taking the whole lot off. There we go. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to add a bit of glue there because I completely ripped that off. There we go. Repair as we go. Okay, so we have these corners here. I just need to switch screens again so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so we have this corner here, so we need to make that a little bit neater. So what I'm going to do is press that down and turn it in a little bit. There we go. So I've literally just done that. So you need to do something very similar if you're using cardstock on this, by just pressing that in. You won't be able to fold it over like I'm doing with cardstock, but I just want this tucked in nicely. And then again in the middle, going over and then smoothing everything down. And there we have a lovely wrapped album on one side. So that's coming together really nicely. And again, if you have double-sided Fablon, you can do exactly the same with that as well. I do have some double-sided glitter film, that would be perfect for this too. Just folding these in. So this whole inside section here is going to be covered. I'm just going to press those in so that they go inwards, just very gently with my bone folder, just to keep them neat and tidy, because I haven't got any adhesive on there to keep them in, so I'm going to have to fold them. Okay, so here we have our Gatefold album so far. So that's coming together really well. So we are going to carry on for a little bit longer on this, because I want to get to a good stage where it's good to stop. My tea is definitely cold. Definitely cold now, so I'm going to need another one. Okay, so next I'm just going to take this Petrol blue card and take 2 out, and we're going to line it just like that. So I am going to trim it down so that we have a nice gap there. So I'm going to take my final measurement for this one after I've put this one down. So grab your big trimmer out again. Whoopsie, sorry if that was noisy. And I'm going to measure a section here so that I have a gap either side, so probably around about 1/8 of an inch, so that is 8 inches. So I'm going to cut my piece of card to 8 inches wide. There we go. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back to those sheets again that I've put down somewhere. There we go. So do expect to use quite a few of these sheets, but they really are a really good way in finishing off your album really well. So let's get this cut down. Not cut down, added to. So again, I'm going to use the same technique. I'm hoping you guys aren't getting bored of this. This is taking quite some time, but then with mini album making from scratch, they do take some time to complete. So like I said, this is going to be in a few parts. Okay, so get that down. Okay, so this has gone over, so I'm just going to trim that off. So I guess this is where using the Tim Holtz scissors is probably more advisable. Because it's not, but it is sticking. Maybe I'll use my knife. Yeah, should we use my knife? Let's give that a go. There we are. Much easier. Okay, so let's get this glued down. So what we're going to do is we're going to add this along here, and I think I just need to just trim this. Let's just risk it. Let's just trim this off here. There we go. Yes, thank you. A lot of people are saying it's fascinating. Is that why the comments are so quiet? Everyone's concentrating. Okay, so we're going to glue this on just like so. Right, so again, we're going to do that really cool technique of just taking off some of it, folding it back, and then positioning it. There we go. It's funny because I'm concentrating too, so I keep going quiet as well. Right, so get that top section pressed down. So I'm just grabbing this section and then supporting that. There we go. So let's quickly measure the last section. So that needs to be 2 3/8. Yep, 2 3/8 by 8. Let's grab this out again. Where did my spare piece of card go? It's made its way to the bottom. Okay, so what was it again? 2 3/8. I don't know. 2 3/8. We'll give that a go. By 8. There we go. I'm going to glue that on there. So we do have a little bit of a join here, but I may just mat this inside again, so it's going to be hidden, or I could just add some pockets and things so that it's hidden there. Let's tidy up again. And what I am going to do is I'm going to use glue for this last little bit, because there's no joins here, so we're not going over any of these joins here at all. Yes, I'm just reading what Anna Maria has just written. I think I'm just going to take my time just to make sure I've read the question okay. Would matte and laying the front of the album add too much bulk to hide glue marks if you don't have Stix too? I would say you'd be alright with that, yes. As long as your mats don't go over the bends, the joins, the corners, if that makes sense. I'll show you in a moment. Okay, so that's pretty much seamless now. So if you wanted to mat this, you would mat, it might be easier for me to bend this first and then show you. So grab your bone folder, and I'm going to work on the inner one first. I'm going to create a line and gently lift as we go. A crease is going to form. Now I'm just going to carefully lift this up to a right angle while I'm doing this with my bone folder, so that it goes up to about that angle there, and you will want to kind of open up again. And now I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side, so use the whole edge here, or if you have this one, you can do that, and do it slowly as well, but don't go over, bend it right over, because the outside of your paper here could crack, especially if you've used something thick on the outside. Okay, so now I can explain what I meant. So we have our corners here, so if you leave these areas clear and you wanted to hide any glue marks, you can mat around the edge here, which I will be doing anyway, but I just wanted a completely smooth finish. But if you didn't want to add any mats to it at all, and you wanted a nice smooth complete finish, then use the double-sided sticky tape just to get the perfect finish, because especially as this is a metallic finish, it's going to show all the lumps and bumps as well. Okay, so let's do the other side. So lift this up. We're definitely going to be going over an hour today, so if you do have to pop away, the replay will be available for you to watch at you know, like tonight, this evening, or whenever you have free time. But if you're happy to stay, I'm happy to have you. Okay, so here we have our album. It's coming together. It wants to pop open like that. So I do have some, what are these called, box latches. I will try and find something on eBay. I bought these ages ago, so there we go. These are from eBay, and they clasp together. You've probably seen these on mini albums and other books before, but they kind of work like this. It's hard to demonstrate because they're not stuck down, but this opens up and closes down like that. So I'm going to be adding this clasp to keep this closed, probably near the end of the, as we're approaching the end of finishing the album, because I want to probably, I am either going to mat this or I'm not. I'm undecided yet, so let's move that aside. One of my ideas is, I said earlier on, we're going to be doing some easy foiling. Sun's gone in again, I'm hoping you can see. So I have this sheet here. This is the same cardstock. It's a full A4 sheet here, and that, you're welcome, Anna. And we're going to be using some gold foil on this, so we're not going to be using any sort of heat whatsoever. So it's going to be a really easy way of using this. So any sort of foiling roll that would be used for heat, if you've seen all those gadgets and machines, any of those reactive foils will work with this as well. So I've used some double-sided tape for this. Just need to find the end of the roll here. It could be any width that you need or would like to go for. And what I've done is I have lined up this piece of card with my grid mat here. So when I'm adding my tape, I'm adding it lined up with the grid. So I'm going right across here, and then I'm doing that. So let's grab my little cube, acrylic cube here. This is just a stamp block with a, if you've just joined us, and then I'm just going to carry on finishing off this piece here and take all of the backing off as well, and then I'll show you the next step. And then I think that will be it today. So this, once I finish this, I'm going to think about whether I'm going to have this as the outer cover, but I'm definitely going to use this in the album somewhere. So take your bone folder again, so give that a good pressing down. So remember to use your grid to help you get all of these more or less lined up and straight. Give this a good press down, and then you can peel that off, and then you can cut these side pieces off as well. Okay, so I'm not too sure if many of you have seen this. You probably have seen this technique before. I have had it on my channel a few times already, but it's been a while since I've done this. So all we have to do now is take off all of this backing tape. My cat's going to have a lovely time with these. He knows when they're in the bin as well. He sees them and he thinks it's some sort of toy. Find these all over the house. Okay, so someone's saying my mic is muffled, so I do apologise for that. I will double check everything. I can't check anything technically at the moment, but I will double check things afterwards. So keep peeling all of these off. Almost there. I should probably have done this with a smaller piece of paper for this demo. Ah yes, Creative Spirit says her cat does the same thing. There we go. Right, so I'm just going to set this aside because that's incredibly sticky. Right, so let's grab this roll out now. So I have used this roll before for this sort of technique. Not sure if there's any remnants of it left. There's a few. Here we go. There's a few stripy bits left. So let's cut that off. Okay, so yes, Kathy says it's 1 AM there. Goodness, that's very late. A whole 13 hours ahead of us. 11, I can't count, my brain is mush today. Right, so all I'm going to do is add this foil on top there. And it does get a bit messy, so anything that stays sticky you can then redo again. So press everything down, grab a bone folder, press everything down. So this is kind of going for like the Tutankhamun style golden turquoise stripes. There we go. So let's lift this up. Hopefully you can see. We're getting stuck. There we go. There we go. Right, so let's cut this section off. You can keep these as well. You can always use this for the same technique. It's stuck there. This is fun. Right, I have sticky scissors. So I have some rubbing alcohol that will get all of that stickiness off. I think I might have lost some stickiness here, but we'll do our best and see how that covers. So have any of you guys seen this technique before? How to do foiling without using heat. Cut that off. Yeah, Sam says she loves this one. I'm sure you've done this before, Sam. Peel this off. I quite like some of the patchy edges, but if you do get a patchy edge, you can just kind of just go over it like so. Have a few gaps there, just to cover those up. This is where I did a boo-boo and some of this stuck to the other side, so I might not be able to get those fully covered, but we'll have a go. Now we're just going to have a few. I guess it adds a bit of aging. Okay, so this is now ready to be used as anything I want now inside here. So I can add this to the inside, to any of the pages, or maybe even just to trim it down and have it on the outside of the cover. So I'm going to have a little bit of a think about that now. Right, so that's it for this week. Oh, the sun's in my eyes. So that's it for this week. Next week, next Tuesday, we're going to be carrying on with this album. So we're going to be working on the inner pages and the flaps and adding pockets. And I do have some Simple Stories flaps. I think they're 3x4. I'm going to see if they fit on the inside here, so we can make our own waterfall. So I ordered those about a year ago now, and I know where they are. They're in my stash somewhere. I say I know where they are, but I probably don't. So anyway, I'm sure you'll just say just the same. So we're going to be doing all of that next week, and we'll see how far we can get. This may be a 3-parter, but I'm going to try and get all this done in the next live video, which will be next Tuesday. Let's get the date for you. Tuesday will be the 17th of March next week, 1 PM GMT. And again, tomorrow, the blog post for this with any of the measurements that I've done today, those will be published on my website tomorrow, and the link for that will be added tomorrow to the description box down below, or otherwise you can sign up to my email, and you'll be notified when that blog post goes live. So yes, I'm just going to quickly read some of the comments. So yes, the people saying thank you. Sam says yeah, sticky tape all over the ones again. People want to have a go at this, so good luck if you do have. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, Sam's done this a long time ago, and I've reminded her. So have you got any projects in mind, Sam? What you're going to do this for again? And yeah, so please tune in next week, 1 PM Tuesday the 17th, and I'll make sure that the post for that is up, so you can join it and be waiting. Yeah, I had a few people waiting already when I joined and went live. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to go now. So I think Kathy's going to go to bed, so good night, Kathy. So thank you ever so much for joining me, and again, if you're on the replay, thank you for tuning in as well. So thank you everyone, and I'll see you again next week.